Hello Chrysalis. Today I want to share you 7 tips how to make your change more successful. Dare to want. When defining your goal, be honest with your will. Give yourself a permission to want and to desire things, even if it would feel a bit silly. It is still what you want, and denying that from yourself might lead to an inner conflict. If you want to be a princess, then that's what you want. It doesn't matter if it's a stupid dream for someone else's reality. In your reality, it's probably like a really awesome goal. It may sound unrealistic at first, but when starting to think about it, you realize that there still are princesses in this world. And not all of them were born as royalties. Becoming a princess might be a bit challenging, of course, especially if you represent the binary that normally is not expected from a princess. And what I mean by this is that a princess is usually considered to be a female. And if you're not a female, at first you might think that you would never ever have a chance to become a princess. But after you think about it for a moment, there are still ways. Of course, it's not easy. Probably you either would need to transform yourself, or you can try to change the system so that the princess would be a gender-neutral term. It might not be easy, but if that is truly what you desire from life, then why not? Then you just need to be ready to take the steps. And of course you need to be honest if you truly want to walk this path towards your destination. But if you tell yourself from the beginning that you can't, it becomes as part of your inner reality, and that is when you are sabotaging yourself. Dare to want things, because then you dare to make decisions, and decisions will take you to make concrete actions. And when you do those, you get closer to your destination and your goal. Do something now. One of the biggest reasons why people fail at delivering their change is that they don't really start doing things. They focus so much on planning and being perfect and getting information for months that they never actually start doing anything concrete. And you need to find, of course, the good information, but when doing that, you will also find the unnecessary information, and that becomes like an eternal Wikipedia binging session. And don't get me wrong, you do need the information, you do need to do your homework, so to say, and that is absolutely important. But you also have to, you absolutely must take the first step and do something concrete. It would be so easy to, use all the time to search for content, compare yourself with everyone else and get overwhelmed about how much information there is about the change that you want to do or achieve. And so many people who have already achieved what you want to achieve. And there's a big risk that you start letting that to slow you down in your own path. And that's when you will not achieve anything. That only slows you down. I definitely understand the need to, be really well prepped and be really sure about what you do. But after a while, you have to let go. You have to move on. You have to do the decisions. Life is now. Okay, in some cases in quite many dimensions, but in generally, it's happening now. Your life isn't going to wait for you to, get prepared. Think about what you can do right away. You want to be a YouTuber? Well, instead of Googling about how to do it for months, make 1-minute video and publish it. Need to start exercising? Instead of browsing the internet for months to find out what's the right method for you, take your stuff and gear and go out and start jogging. You can always return to your source of information, not source, like source of information. I'm gonna leave that. But keep in mind that the only way to do things that you want to do is to do the things that you want to do. 3. Use instars. Instar is a term that I use in the Chrysalis path to describe the smaller decisions and actions. Smaller decisions and actions that support your goal and decisions. The term instar refers to the caterpillar's different kind of stages between shedding their skin. So there's this little caterpillar going there and shedding the skin, and between those that's an instar. And you can use this symbolism as an inspiration for your change. For example, if you decide to start living a healthier life, it consists of smaller instars, such as eating healthy food, doing sports, quitting smoking, sleeping enough, taking your vitamins, and so on. First, take one thing and split it into even smaller segments. Sorry. For example, instead of doing 2-hour workout in this massive way, do 5-minute workout. Just 5. And really allow yourself to make it into a habit and prevent yourself from using the lack of time as an excuse for not doing it. If you want to be that YouTuber, as mentioned before, first start with those 1-minute videos if you'd like. And later you can start increasing the intensity on how you do things, such as how often do you post videos or how long they are. Because if you try to learn everything at once, it might be a bit too much and then you start slipping from your plan. And that is not what we want, is it? Instars might not be an option for every case. For example, I personally often need to rip the bandage kind of immediately so that I can truly feel the change and get motivation from that. And for an alcoholic, for example, a total declining from alcohol might just be the only way. Using instars might cause the feeling of what's the use if you don't really see the bigger picture, like this real frustration. But it is about making something, like doing something habitually. Because when something becomes a natural habit, that's basically when the change has happened. Taking the smaller steps can be so beneficial to your change. It's kind of like the soft launch where you test the kind of things that are related to your change. Like if you truly want it, if this is what you can do, and so on. So that is why they are very important. They help you to make something a habit. Behave like it's already your reality. One of the best ways to make things happen in a concrete level is to start living your future reality like it was already your current reality. Before Chrysalis had any members, I started behaving like a spiritual leader. I started also doing the things that I would be teaching other people to do, and I created the websites in a way that they already painted this kind of like an image of what Chrysalis is. Not what it would be one day, but what it is. And there was already this like a created reality where people would step into. And when I talked to the people, I was always talking to them in a way like my dream would already be true. And same with you. If you want to be a musician, behave like a musician. If you make music, start calling yourself a musician. This does not mean that you should lie. And that is something I do not encourage. But even if you wouldn't have that massive fan base already, or social media following, or even gigs, you still have your instrument. That makes you pretty much a musician. When you start really knowing that you are a musician, it becomes so much easier for yourself to kind of justify all the musician privileges that there might be, such as it's easier for you to offer you and your instrument and your music to do gigs, for example. It makes it so much easier to do that, let's say Facebook page or Instagram page. You won't feel any kind of I don't know if I should do this because I'm not worthy enough. Bullshit. Because your worth is what you define in your reality. And you are worthy of achieving these things. And come on, like social media page. Oh. And let's say you do a social media page as a musician. Don't focus on the numbers just yet. Just focus on the dream and then scale it up. Know what it means to be something. If you want to be a millionaire, your dream might actually not be the reality of being a millionaire. And what I mean that a millionaire probably isn't actually spending a lot of money, and it might not be even possible for you. And if something is not optional right now, then you can think about the thing from a different perspective. Instead of I am a millionaire. You can think about, I'm a person who's becoming rich. And then you start thinking, what are the things that a person who's becoming rich is doing? Probably they would cut all the unnecessary costs. They are probably saving some money. And if you feel like, oh, but there is nothing I can save, everything goes. I don't know, $1 per day. You can start from that. And after a while, perhaps you double the amount, and then it's suddenly $2 per day. Just that. I know it might not be a possibility to everyone, but you get my point. Try to make your goal so that it is realistic to achieve. And if you can't achieve your goal, just modify it a bit. Or let's get back to that princess tree. So if you want to become a princess, where does a princess hang out? What does a princess do? In what kind of circles does the princess hang out? With what kind of company? And where do you see a princess and with who? Go to those places. Try to get to talk to that kind of people. You never know. Even though it is a cliche, everybody really starts from somewhere. Start living that life already today. Make it as part of your environment. Decorate your home so that it reflects your change. If you decide to become the sportiest motherfucker on earth, make a little corner where you can do some home exercise, for example. Or if you want to be this glamorous star, well, decorate your home like it would already be reality. And get that silky tunica, place some pearls on your vanity table and build a canopy for your bed. And if you don't have the money, be creative. And everything doesn't have to be the most expensive option. Your diamond ring doesn't have to be a real diamond ring yet. Environment will visualize what you are. In my home, I kind of sacrificed a quite large area for the Chrysalis corner. And this corner is at the same time kind of like my altar and a reception where people come and talk with me. This corner helps me to live and breathe every day that I am the leader of the Chrysalis path. And whenever someone visits me and wants to talk a bit about Chrysalis, or even if they didn't, they will always still ask, they step into this magical world of mine and they see this corner and they see that I am damn serious with what I'm doing. And when they see that I am serious, they will react in a bit more serious way. So they start treating me in a way that I want, because I'm showing it in the way that I look, in the way that I live, that I am full-on chrysalid. What you message with how you or your home looks like sends a message to people, and those messages create associations with people. And people very often will treat you based on those associations. When you attach your desired change to your everyday view, to things that you see every day, it becomes both your reality and other people's reality. And again, you are closer to your destination. Make spare plans for the moments of failure. Another common thing that prevents people from changing is that they see failures as something permanent. But the fact is, it is very likely that you will experience, but it is very likely that at some point you will experience the moment of failure. First, it is very important to acknowledge that this will happen at some point, very probably. But they are part of the process, not something that stops it. So if you, for example, want your book to be published, but the publisher says no, you go to the second one. And if they say no, you go to the third one. And if they say no, you just continue. That's what J.K. Rowling did before Harry Potter was published. Set yourself a process to follow if you fail. So if you break your diet with sugary food, how do you fix it? How do you survive the cravings, and what can you eat to do the next kind of like a soft launch to get back on track again? Or do you just immediately need to jump back to your desired diet? What works for you matters the most. Also become aware of your impulses. If impulses and unwanted behavior are strong, failures are so much more likely to appear. Often these impulses are something we do to medicate the symptoms, but it's not going to fix the cause. Such as eating a pizza to get some fast carbs when the sugar low is hitting during a busy day. When you learn to recognize your impulses and your impulsive behavior, that allows you to choose differently. For example, if you get the cravings and you can either eat pizza or something healthy. The bad feeling of not choosing the pizza only lasts for a few minutes. Whereas choosing the pizza, especially if you are like me and you get your tummy extremely bloated, that might last even days, those consequences. And believe me, I am not saying that you shouldn't eat pizza. Go ahead, all you like. But what I'm saying is that if you don't want to eat that pizza, you need to realize that the impulse of eating it might be way more harmful than choosing something else and feeling bad about that choice. As I want to be considerative, and I know that many people are suffering from eating disorders and want to seek the, body positive mentality, I want to calm you down a bit. Really, if you are comfortable with yourself and you have healthy eating habits, then nothing to worry about. Just eat all the pizza that you want. I would do that if I wouldn't have all my allergies. But you also need to understand that to some people these kinds of impulses can be dangerous, especially if they do have some kind of a goal that they want to achieve. So it's important to talk about these kind of options too. Just remember that your body is your vase, your beautiful vase that you can decorate the way that fits you. And now that everybody is probably just craving for pizza, you can practice this. Instead of eating that pizza, fight against that impulse and eat something healthy and see what happens. Will you suffer for not eating the pizza also tomorrow? Will it end your life if you can't have the pizza right now? Or will you be somehow capable of surviving these evil pizza craving impulses? Commit and prioritize. If you really want something to truly change, you need to commit. Book some time for your change and put it even to your calendar to make sure that you are prioritizing it and giving it the time that it needs, that you need. Many fail in their changes because they are not truly committed and they are not taking their change seriously. They fear, for example, how much time it would consume. Well, newsflash. If you really want that thing to be part of your life in the future, it is going to demand time also then. If you truly want to be a corporate leader one day, you can't simply think that you should not start doing something because it takes time, because it sure as hell will not stop taking your time in the future either. So better get used to it. If you want to succeed, if you really want something, you have to live and breathe the change. In Chrysalis, we talk about the caterpillar as the symbol of decision, and you have to decide that this is what you want, this is what you will do, this is now your life. Cut the excuses, cut the bull. Cut the martyrdom, cut the self-pity, commit, decide. If you truly deep inside your beautiful soul want something that eagerly, you will find ways. The biggest privilege that we have is having the human mind. Know that you are able to break the limits. Respect the fact that you have been given such a great tool. Be creative, because your mind is creative. You will figure out the ways to get what you want. Use that tool. It is a pretty damn awesome tool. Find the ways to devote to your imago, which is your ideal self. In Chrysalis path, we really like to highlight the importance of this imago. It's basically what we imagine ourselves being in the future and what we become, the ideal self. In Chrysalis path, to highlight the importance of the imago and your inner divinity, we might even make an altar for it. So draw a picture of yourself in a position that you want to be in the future. Then place it to your altar and worship it. Because when you worship that image, that imago, perhaps even daily, it keeps you focused. It reminds you about what is important. Make your future self your God. And that God wants probably some sacrifices, and worship them. Thank you for watching this video. Please do follow me on Instagram and visit our site templechrysaliS.com to learn more about the Chrysalis path. Te dimen te Chrysalis.